I think it's going to have a run on the Angelicore going into the bus stop.
Oh my God, what a pass. He got it done.
Well, good evening, everybody. It is Ken Rodriguez with you here tonight. North American Grand Prix GT1 Racing coming to you live from beautiful Bahrain out here in the Middle East. But before we go any further, folks, I want to introduce to you my co-host for this evening, Jack Ivy. What do you say there, Jack?
Hey, Ken, good to be back. Looks like we got all the gremlins fixed up. Hope Chicago's got its act together tonight. And looks like we're in for another barn burner.
Yep, you're not kidding. Boy, I tell you, this is one heck of a track that we are at here tonight. So we are at the Bahrain International Circuit. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the track map. This particular course has about 3 or 4 different layouts, but the one that we're running here tonight is the classic layout. It's a 15-turn course out in the desert.
Yeah, in particular concern is going to be that 9-10 combination there. That is really tight. 8, 9, and 10. All 3 of those corners. Real tight corners, real slow, very technical. So it's going to be interesting to see who can get the power down coming out of that turn 10 onto that short back straight.
It is very technical, and let's not forget 11, 12, and 13, specifically 12 and 13. Those are off-camber turns. These high-powered GT1 cars love to push and slide. So, low downforce cars with big horsepower, off-camber turns makes for some very exciting racing.
It will indeed, and these guys get out. That kitty litter can really eat up some valuable time there. So it's going to be interesting to see if these guys can keep it on the track and keep the times where they want them.
Yeah, you're not kidding. So we just started qualifying. We have about 24 and a half minutes left on board with Chris Moses, as everybody right now is on an out lap. So there are no hot laps, no timed laps going on right now, but we were watching Mr. Moses a little bit earlier during practice, and he was laying down some fast laps. But the man to really watch here tonight, I think, is going to be Brad Maris. He seems to have that Corvette hooked up really nice.
Well, both Brad and Al, they want this win tonight, and both those teams, PMR and Anger Racing, I mean, they're neck and neck in the team championship. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they're all going to play out tonight.
Yep, so we brought the team championship standings up online for our viewers right now, and boy, after last week's race, Precision Motor Racing now jumps into the team lead by 1 itty-bitty point. So you know what? I think we're in for a dogfight here, Jack. I think that Al and Chris certainly understand what's at stake. Andres and Brad understand what's at stake here. I think these guys, from here till the end, we've got another, three races to go. I think they're going to give it their all, and we're going to see some really good racing between these two teams.
It's going to be all about finishing, and something Brad always preaches, and something that maybe Andre is going to have to keep in mind. They're going to have to finish, regardless of where they finish, but they're going to have to finish to keep it close. But both Al and Chris, I know Chris would like to end the season on a win, but geez, 3 races ago, it didn't look this close. It looked like Anger was going to walk away with the season, but things can change mighty quick here on Thursday nights.
That they do. And speaking of the driver's points, Chris Moses leaped out into the lead with 106 points. John Luden sitting in second with 98. Aaron Parsons with 98 as well. So we have a 2-way tie for second, and by no means are these 2 drivers out of the hunt yet, with 3 races still left to go.
Now, Prado and Pole are right behind in the high 90s as well. So it's going to be tight right to the end. One unfortunate incident for any one of these drivers can leave them out of the top three. And, Ludden is, he's doing a great job in that Zonda of his. So we'll have to keep our eye out on him.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're currently looking at Mr. Maris, our resident driving instructor here at NAGP, as he is putting down a hot lap right now. Looks like he's coming up to the off-camber section of the track, which can be a little bit tricky for some of these cars.
Yeah, Brad, the consummate professional here at NAGP. You guys need any help, you get in touch with Brad. He'll be more than happy to help you out here with some driving tips.
Looks like we have a smoking engine up ahead. One of these salines might be Chris Moses. I'm not exactly sure. So Brad Maris currently sitting in 5th. And actually it's Al Merriman, the boss man, who's smoking his engine. Looks like he took it to the pits to maybe open up that radiator. So, yeah.
Well, you're right there. We've got a track temp of 113 and ambient at 95, so the temperatures here in the desert are going to play havoc. The only good thing about this is if it rains, somebody's going to have to talk to the GTR2 people, because we are talking about rain in the desert. It shouldn't be any rain at all.
You are not kidding. So it looks like Chris Moses and Al are headed back out to give it another whirl. Hopefully Al will not smoke his engine so much. I mean, it was smoking so bad that it looked like it was smoking black smoke.
Well, Andrew Werner is taken up to P2 at a 151.732, and that's another team we're going to have to watch out for, is that 05 Motorsport with Werner and Poole. I mean, they're doing a great job with that Porsche out there this season.
That they are. They had a very strong start to the GT1 season. Fell off just a little bit for a couple of races there, but looks like both Andrew and David are back on their game, and they just might be in the hunt here.
Yeah, absolutely. With two solid finishes by both team members, it's going to put them up there. And like we've seen before, it's only going to take one little incident to put one of the team members out, and you're going to drop in the standings like a stone in a pond.
Well, I got to tell you, Jack, I'm very excited about the remaining races of this season. It is shaping up to be something really spectacular. Some of the closest points battles that we've seen in GT1 racing in a long while, and I'm just excited to be a part of it and be able to see this all unfold.
Yeah, it's going to be a great end to this season. There's no doubt about it. The only disappointing thing is, the driver, the grids aren't as big as we'd like them to see. I'd sure like to see some more drivers out here. The GT1 cars are fast. Anybody who wants a little bit of action, they should come on out and join us on Thursday nights.
Yeah, I agree. We do field a larger field in GT2. So those are cars that are based on the GT3 FIA GT3 model, and the fields being larger, of course, means more competition. So it seems that the focus is there right now in this league, but we'll have to see how things shape up after these seasons are done and over with. Will GT1 make a return? It's possible. If it doesn't, will we be moving over to Assetto Corsa? So a lot of things and a lot of details still yet to be ironed out. This is all preliminary, folks, and we're just speculating here on the broadcast. Nothing has been officially announced. So we're just talking what we feel, what we think.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, Ken. For any of you guys who are watching the broadcast, you should really put up a post. Chris put out a call to the drivers to ask them what they'd like to see for Thursday night, and what they need to do to maybe attract some more drivers in midweek racing. So, put your opinions up there. They don't know if you don't talk to them.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Now, I did want to make mention to Alex Scott. You know, he is subbing in tonight for Bjorn Heyman, and he is sitting in P10 right now, right behind teammate John Ludden. So they're looking to gather some team points as well.
Yeah, Alex Scott is he's one of our great setup drivers here at NAGP, along with David Poole. These two gentlemen have a keen understanding of how these cars work, because I got to tell you, I've driven maybe one or two of Alex Scott's setups, and I've really liked them.
Well, I can't drive them, but I can't drive any car at any setup, so I'm not a good judge there. But Alex has been more than generous, helping post up setups for myself and other people. So if you need help with a car setup, give Alex a post.
Speaking of car setups, I've got some sad news. My daily beat-around car has finally died on me. It died on me Saturday. And looks like my wife and I this Saturday are going to be going out to a dealer to maybe get a minivan as a daily beat-around car.
Oh, a soccer mom.
I threw a piston in my 4-cylinder Chevrolet 2.2 Ecotec engine. So it's currently running on 3 cylinders, and it's got a nasty knock every time the crankshaft slams into the bottom of the connecting rod.
I got one word for you. Oil.
Well, interestingly enough, this front seal on the motor did go bad, and because the oil only leaked when I was driving, I did not take notice. That was bad on my part.
Well, can you deserve a new one? Get a fully loaded model. You might as well. You're young enough. You got time to pay it off.
Actually, we're looking at a Honda Odyssey, so that's going to be interesting. I've never had a minivan.
It's like driving a Bluebird bus.
So, Chris Mose is setting the early pace out here, Jack. He is in first place with a 151.3.
Yeah, and you know what? That is almost identical to last year, or the last time they raced here. Pole time last time around was 151.443. So Chris has bettered that. He's the only one who's bettered that time. So they are better, but thank God, you know, I see these guys come back to the same track and they just smash the existing records that they have at the track. So thank God it's not being like smashed to pieces. He's just a little better, but he's in that Celine and it looks like he's got a good handle on it.
Yep, absolutely. And I noticed that he's been doing just several laps at a time and then pulling it back into the pits. So I can't help but think he might be out there running a light fuel load with soft tires. But you know what? At these high temperatures, even those soft Michelins on the Saline will start to heat up real quick and get real slick very fast.
Well, you've got that right, 114 degree track temp. It's not going to take much, so they're going to have to take it easy on the out lap, but they can't take it too easy that they impede some of the other drivers.
Absolutely. So Chris back out on a hot lap. Looks like he's can't tell exactly where on the track he is. Up front straightaway. Sets a new fastest lap.
Surprise, surprise. A good one by Chris. 151.175. That was pretty quick and a great lap. Maris out on a hot lap, and he is only 1/100th of a second away from Chris's split time there.
Well, Brad and Andres are driving Corvettes with Michelin tires as well. So, I mean, the only difference between the two cars right now is essentially the body shape, because these two cars, they run the same chassis, and one is a mid-engine car versus the Corvette that's got the engine up front. So the Corvette C5R is definitely a capable car of pole here tonight. It's just a matter of getting a really good, or should I say near perfect lap together and laying down a hot one.
And Brad looks like he's got a good lap going. He's off the pace though, but very smooth, good line. Caught him a little bit of the gravel there, but you know, a consummate pro there.
Yeah, it was down 0.4 of a second in the last sector, in the second sector. So he's working on sector 3 right now. See if he can make up some time. It doesn't look like he's going to have enough what it takes to get down there in pole time. But he's up in P3. David Poole sitting in 4th and Al Merriman in 5th. And herein is what I'm saying. You see these PMR boys, they are looking to perhaps both finish within the top 5 to really put a hurting on Anger Racing in the team standings. It's going to be very interesting to watch this race here tonight.
Yeah, and Al's got a pretty decent lap going right now. I've been following him around. He's only about 0.2 of a second off the pace, so he could better his position on this lap here.
That he can. And you want to know something else, Jack? I have seen some terrific bursts of speed from Al this season. He has certainly made huge improvements and strides in GT1. He's been driving on a level that I've never seen him drive before in the few seasons that I've been with NAGP. So good on Al. He's made that big improvement, and he's just laying down some hot laps and being very competitive this season.
Yeah, this lap for Al is going to be really close. He might just squeak in to take 4th out of David Poole. It's going to be real close.
And we're following Al right now. Another one not to discount, David Canavan driving the Lister Storm. We're not on him right now, but I believe he's sitting in P6. It's another one that we got to keep our eyes on. No improvement for Al on this lap, unfortunately.
And Canavan either. He's pulled it back into the pits.
Yeah, just caught him as he was getting back in there. So we go to P7, Marty Uren, driving the Lamborghini Diablo. And so he's in the 3rd sector now, trying to lay down a hot one, see if he gets any improvement here. He looks like he's on a little bit of a better lap. Not that much, but nope, no improvement either. Boy, just when it looks like they're about to get a really good lap, and I guess that last corner really catches a few of these drivers out there.
Yeah, it is going to be real tough for anybody to take that P1 off Chris Moses. I just caught up with Andrew Warner, and he's about 0.2 of a second off in the 1st sector compared to Chris's time. So, going to be tough to take that away.
Well, you know, I was looking at John Ludden's times and wondering why he's sitting back there in 8th, and it's no wonder. Just went over to the ballast board, and he's carrying around 70 kilos.
And that'll explain it.
It's almost like having another person sitting in your car with you.
Yeah, the most I've ever carried is that 40 kilos, and that was enough for me. And I don't know how these guys can get the performance out of the car when they're carrying all that ballast.
They use the grip patch.
I don't even know if the grip patch should help. Just watching our newcomer Larry Ferguson sitting in P11 coming around the 1st sector split.
You know, I got to tell you that Larry Ferguson has been doing actually really well. We got one of the salines stuck out there on track. Don't know who that might be.
Yeah, I don't think that helped Larry's lap there.
Looks like Chris Moses got caught out there.
Oh, he will have a hemorrhage.
Oh my good Lord. Wow. If he's got a drop, it's just going to be shameful.
It is ugly out there with everybody. Oh, we just had one of the Paganis run into him.
I saw that. Definitely not an easy track to tame around here on Bahrain.
No. You know, poor old Chris, if he disconnects after setting that a new lap record there. He said a 151.074.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah, he's still out there. As one of the Lamborghinis went around him.
Well, you know, he's breaking, I think, everybody's rule. He should drop out. And he's going to have to start at the back. But I think he's hoping if he stays there, nobody will catch his time. He's sort of out of the line right now. You know, but, you know, he's making it hard for these guys to get around and set up for that corner. So, I know what he's doing, but it's not good.
Well, I know what he's doing as well. And from where I'm sitting, I see him right on the race line. So, alright. Well, we're going to see who else is doing what around here. Gup Douglas sitting in 14th. He's about 2.2 seconds off the pole pace right now as he enters Sector 3.
Well, it's almost too bad somebody wouldn't give Chris Moses a punt and drive him off the side of the track.
You know, I don't know if that would actually work.
I don't either.
I don't.
I would try it if I was out there.
I know.
He finally got back to the pits.
Really? Oh, wow. Wow, he must have had a huge hang-up then.
I think we're going to see a warning posted next week. Hey, now penalties. What do we got in penalties going this week?
Good question. Let's go ahead and bring up the penalty board. We do have that. So, Aaron Parsons. Now, last week was Brands Hatch, and Aaron Parsons entered turn 1 making contact with the inside retaining wall, resulting in a spin, and there were multiple drivers involved. He's got a no-qual for the next event that he attends, and I do not see him out there tonight, so I don't know if he'll jump in quali 2.
Yes, he will. He's out practicing offline right now, and he'll jump in quali 2. No reason for him to sit there and wait.
That's right. I mean, you know, he's also in the driver's hunt for the driver championship, so I hope to see him here in quali 2. So that was our first one, and let's see here. Well, that was really the only penalty that was actually given. There were some at-faults and some warnings given, and that's about it. But I'll tell you what, the at-fault contact, the season total right now, Matt Taylor sitting up there with 4. One more, and he gets a no-qual.
Yeah, you know, it's I like that that feature that they're doing now. I really am glad that they're recognizing these guys with contacts and giving them some sort of penalty, but not that harsh that it's going to impede them.
Well, it's certainly giving an opportunity to those that are more, you know, shall I say, clean of a driver. That typically does not make that type of a mistake. You know, it kind of gives you a little buffer. You're allotted up to 5 first lap at fault contacts before you have to serve a no qual. And you know what? If you're a clean driver, one that typically does not make those mistakes, you really got nothing to worry about.
No, and you know, mentioning clean drivers, you know, that was very uncharacteristic of Aaron Parsons. I mean, boy, oh boy, he's got to be one of the cleanest drivers out there in NAGP. It's a pleasure to race with that guy anytime.
You don't see Aaron Parsons get many at-fault contacts or no-quals. As a matter of fact, I can't ever remember him getting a penalty since I've been doing the broadcast with you, Jack, so you're absolutely right. But you know what? He's also a professional driver here at NAGP, and he takes it just like the rest of us do. And like you said, he's probably offline somewhere practicing. He'll be back here for the race.
Oh, you got that. He knows exactly what he's doing.
So Chris Mose is getting over his lag woes, and he's back out there on a warm-up lap, on an out lap right now. He's going to take the checkered flag. We've got 2 minutes of qualifying left to go.
Yeah, David Poole's coming around the final combination of corners down onto the final straight there, so we'll see how he does if he can improve from fourth. But I bet you he'll keep it out there for one more.
No improvement for David Poole. Alex Scott out there in P10 driving the other Pagani. Larry Ferguson sitting in 11th, and boy, I gotta tell you, Larry Ferguson has done all right with that Nissan GTR. That is one tough car to tame.
Yeah, you know, I've never been really comfortable in that car, but you know, there has been some good success with that car from other drivers in previous seasons.
Yeah, watching that car reminds me of the French Connection, Kevin Savoy and Laurent Wiseman.
Yeah, they were hell on wheels out there, weren't they?
They certainly were. So, you know, I've been racing with, I've actually been duking it out with Savoy. He's been doing the iRacing thing with, when we had the NAGP iRacing League. That league has now moved over to another league for Saturday nights, and he's moved along with it as well. So he's still around.
Well, that's good to keep in touch with some of the old guys that I'd like to see them here, but it's good to see that they're still out there in the community.
Yeah, there's still quite a few actually, and it's good to see them every so often. So, Marty Uren in 10th. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, David Poole coming around for his final. No better.
Nope, can't get it done. Trying, but can't get it done.
Werner gonna try, but I don't think
nope.
Chris. Yeah, just cooked it on the last corner.
Yeah, he got a little squirrely there.
You mentioned Marty, and he picked up one last spot in the last car out on track. So good on you, Marty.
So a last-ditch effort by Marty Uren to take the 9th spot away from Alex Scott. Alex Scott was sitting in 9th temporarily. So looks like the qualifying grid is set for round 8.
And if I can say, Mr. Lucky, or actually the Pit Wizard has got a new name, and that's Mr. Lucky.
Mr. Yeah, he did get lucky because he timed out, or he lagged out, and boy, I guess he just knew that waiting was going to get him back to the pits, or just hitting that escape button. I don't know.
Well, you know, he was on the racing line. It should be addressed. I think if it had been you or me, they would have removed us.
Quite possibly.
Oh, Juan Monroy has just joined us.
Hey, welcome, Juan. Good stuff.
He's one of my favorite drivers here at NAGP.
Yeah, Juan is certainly a great competitor. Now let's see, Sergio's out there as well.
Parsons is in, but he's showing up as a DQ, so he's probably gonna have to drop out. He's still got 1 minute to drop out and get back in.
I believe that that will eliminate, when we go to warm up, it should undo the DQ thing. I think.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I believe that he could just stay in and he'll be able to just go ahead and start his warm-up practice and stuff like that once we move over, so he should be all right.
1-1, Roy joined and didn't show a DQ.
Interesting, eh?
I'm going to be really disappointed if Aaron is DQ'd and we didn't heads him up on this, Kenny. That's our fault.
I'll tell you what, you go ahead and drop down there and just let him know. Hopefully he knows about it, and I'll keep the broadcast going, Jack. So, Chris Moses escaping a near tragedy after having been lagged out on at the end of the front straightaway for such a long time. I don't know how he escaped that one, but we're going to have to talk to Chris Moses and get the secrets on that.
Supposedly we're okay, guys.
Oh, great. So he will be making the warm-up session. That is the hope.
Yeah, something about a running start. I've never heard this before, but I guess we're going to see.
A running start?
Yeah, maybe start from the pit lane. I've heard about it. I've never actually witnessed it.
So, yeah, quite possibly. We're switching over to warm-up now, and Parsons' DQ has been diminished, so interesting.
Yeah, track temp is leveled off at 91 degrees. We'll have to wait and see what happens when they switch over. Just for you guys following NAGP Monday night, we've got, which could prove to be very interesting. We're racing in Macau, and the chance of rain is very high.
Oh, good grief.
Holy cow.
This is for GTR. This is for GT2, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare.
Okay, well, the last time we raced at Macau, it was a wet race. I remember that race vividly.
Some of them raced. I don't remember finishing the race, but I do remember starting the race.
Yep, it rained, and I believe that Wyatt Gooden may have been the one to run away with that win that night.
Yeah, questionable win.
Questionable? No, that was somebody else. That was somebody else who had some questionable.
Oh, that was another.
Yeah.
I'm getting them all mixed up.
Yep. But yeah. So no, Wyatt Gooden. That's another iRacer. I see him on iRacing doing training sessions all the time. He actually has this little service where he will take you for a half hour and train you in the art of sim racing. And he uses iRacing hosted sessions for that.
I need too much training. And you know what they say about old dogs, Ken, so probably way past the prime time.
Yeah. So, Sergio Calderon practicing his pit in, and boy, I hope he doesn't do that during the race. He needs to just stay on the gas and just slam the brakes at the last second, because he came down the pit chute a little bit slow there. And we have a melee over at the pit entrance. Looks like one of the Lamborghinis got tossed upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Mikey. Mikey wrecked it into the pit entrance, so heads up, Mikey. Take it easy during the race.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
So what are you thinking here, Ken? Who's going to walk away with this one? Do you think Chris is going to get out in front and dominate?
You know, it's going to be really hard to say that Chris would be the one to benefit. Well, but all things considered, I am thinking that consistency at this track is perhaps going to be the big payoff here tonight. So my bet is probably on Brad Maris for the win.
Well, very good choice. I mean, if anybody knows, has the patience factor dialed in, Brad certainly does. You know, top four drivers here: Moses, Werner, Maris, and Pohl. I think any one of these four guys could take it, but you know, come pit time, I got to give it to the pit wizard. That guy's just magic getting in and out of the pits, and I think he wants this win bad.
I would agree. You know, all things considered, again, we're looking at the ballast board, and Chris is carrying 20 kilograms. Doesn't seem like it's made much of a difference for him this round. David Poole with 40 kilograms and Andres Prado with 30. So I'm just wondering how that's going to play into the fuel strategy here at Bahrain, considering that we could possibly see some very high temperatures for the race session.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eye on them around, you know, anywhere in around 22 to 24 laps, because we're scheduled for 46 laps tonight.
That's right, we are. So, and most of these GT1 drivers do kind of slice the race right in half and try and pit as close to the middle of the race as possible. Some adapt an early pit strategy, and I guess based on where you started on the grid, some will even adapt a late pit strategy. One person that I'd be interested to watch here tonight is going to be Aaron Parsons. He's starting from the back. Championship points at stake here, so just curious to know what his strategy might be.
Well, I bet you Aaron is going to go out hard and heavy early to make up the ground, and then settle down. He's going to have to settle down, because if we get high track temps, it's going to play havoc with the tires later in the stints.
That it will. No doubt Aaron Parsons will probably gain a few positions right off the bat at the word go. And I see him picking a few of the drivers off one by one as quickly as he can. I think he's going to want to move up to the front of the field as fast as he can.
Yeah, it's not going to surprise me to see him in around P10 by the end of a few laps.
Well, he's not carrying any ballast weight, so he certainly has an advantage there to be able to make up positions.
So warm-up is done. They're just getting ready to switch over to race. We'll see what the track and temps are going to be like.
Oh, it's actually cool.
Godsend for these guys.
It is. So we're going to go ahead and run them down. It's a short field tonight, unfortunately. But starting on pole, Chris Moses. Second is going to go to Mr. Andrew Werner. Brad Maris will start third. David Poole in fourth. And Al Merriman, it rounds out your top five.
The wily Irishman David Canavan in sixth. Andre Prado in seventh. John Ludden in eighth. Marty Uren in ninth. Alex Scott in 10th.
And starting 11th, Larry Ferguson. Sergio Calderon will start in 12th. Sam Rolfe in 13th. Gup Douglas will start 14th. Mike Graytrix in 15th.
Rounding out the field is Juan Monroy, and Aaron Parsons is going to start at the back of the pack.
Yep, going to be very interesting to see. We've got about a minute before the start of this race, and looks like the only person out on track right now is Andres Prieto. Andy Black.
Yeah, you know, and they shouldn't have much to really consider here tonight. I mean, they got cool temps. Probably medium tires are going to do it. I don't think I wouldn't risk trying to double stint tonight, but you never know.
Well, one interesting thing about GTR2, if you know, temperatures can quickly change around here, so we'll have to see how it goes. And I think that the mid-race temperature will probably be the deciding factor for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, I got to think those temps are going to have to climb.
Well, we're less than 10 seconds away from the start of round 8 of the GT1 Championship here at North American Grand Prix. Lights are going out. And they are off. Chris Moses with the early hole shot.
Parsons picks up 5.
And we're down at the first corner. Oh, it looks like Canavan gets a little sideways. Dropping it back to 8th for Canavan. Larry Ferguson makes a hard charge up to 7th.
Real clean coming out of the first couple corners, though, for most of the guys. Accident in corner 2. Parsons involved, Douglas involved, Graytrick's involved.
So Aaron Parsons not making the hard charge I thought he would within the first few corners. He's still back there in P15. Gup Douglas and Mike Graytrix 16th and 17th.
Calderon getting a little side. Juan Monroy getting a little sideways. Side-by-side action with Aaron Parsons.
On the Bonnicam with Brad Maris right now. Just behind Andrew Warner, who's sitting up in P2.
They're already spacing themselves out.
Yeah, no surprise for the front runners, to be quite honest with you, because these guys understand the strategy. They're not overly anxious to want to be in the lead. They're not overly anxious to want to cook them tires out here in the desert either, Jack.
No, and I was just, just cycling through the cars here to keep an eye on everything, Ken, and picked up P10 Sam Rolfe, and he's done a really good job this season for the limited time he's been out in GT1.
I was just cycling along with you, and I had stopped on Sam Rolfe as they come across the start-finish line. Good on you, Sam. We'll give you a little bit of love, and already we've got, it looks like Mike Graytrix in the pits.
Mikey into pits.
I think it's a little too soon for an early pit strategy around this track.
I don't think it's his pit strategy. You know what? Mikey might have got a stop and go. He's just doing a drive-through, so it had to be a stop and go. Maybe a start infraction.
Very, very possible that he may have gotten a full start penalty. So, John Ludden is currently running 9th. Again, John Ludden is carrying around quite a bit of ballast. He's chasing down David Canavan. David Canavan, who had started 6th, got a little sideways going into turn 1 and got a little bumping going on with some of the other cars. And he just put the moves on Marty Uren, who looks like he had gotten stuck in the corner. So, David Canavan improves 1 to P7.
Yeah, I'm a little farther back. Parsons sitting in 13th, making life miserable for Larry Ferguson back here. So Aaron Parsons looking to grab another spot very shortly. And Nissan has some serious rut down the straights.
Absolutely.
You know, it must be able to hold off that big Ford GT. So Marty and Canavan are in lockstep.
Aaron has a quick look down the inside of Ferguson, but thinks better of it.
We've got trouble. We've got trouble with Brad Maris. Brad Maris, he might have suffered a flat tire or something. He is falling way back. I'm just cycling around his car there. Must be some serious issue with Brad. He's down to P8 now.
Could have been an off. He seems to be back on pace, so could have just been an off.
Yeah, very strange there for Brad. I'm following him around. I just want to see if he's going to hit the pits if he did end up with some mechanical problems.
And Brad pulling off the line.
I can't quite, it doesn't look like he has got a flat, but there is something going on there with Brad Maris.
Yeah, something's not right. He's certainly driving off the line there. We'll have to see if he comes into the pits.
That's Alex Scott go by. And lets them all go by.
And it looks like, yeah, it looks like he's going to make a dip down into the pits. Or not, no.
No, he's staying out. He's staying out.
Huh, interesting. Maybe we'll see if we can get the scoop during the pit rotations. Well, interesting. Okay.
Going on there.
Interestingly enough, Andrew Werner has fallen back to 12th, and my guess is that Brad Maris and Andrew Werner may have had a coming together because they were running 2 and 3. And in an effort of sportsmanship, this is just my guess. In an effort of sportsmanship, Brad Maris has allowed himself to drop behind Andrew Werner and will now start to compete for position once again. That is, of course, just my guess here.
Well, you know, I'm on board listening to the engine. Brad Maris, it looks like you might be absolutely right. It looks like he is back at it.
So, yeah, I think they may have had a coming together, and it may have been Brad's fault, and he just figured he's going to let Mr. Werner get back by, and they'll duke it out for the remainder of the race.
Well, if that is the case, and I don't doubt that for a second, Ken, my hat goes off to Brad. Consummate gentleman.
Yeah, you're not kidding. So now Aaron Parsons up to 9 here, following around Sam Rolfe driving the McLaren F1, and it looks like Aaron Parsons starting to push just a little bit harder as he comes down the front straight, taking a look on the inside. Is he going to get it done? And there he goes.
Uran all over the back of David Canavan. This is quite the freight train going on here. We've got Marty Uran, Canavan, Merriman, Poole, and Prado. Of course, Chris Moses looks like he's got her on autopilot. He's out in front.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that gap is growing. So Chris Moses, your leader, with an 8.8 second gap over second place Andre Prado, and about another 0.3 of a second back to David Poole. No, David Poole and Andres Prado are swapping positions right now. Oh, and
yeah.
Oh,
it looks like Prado has got is lagging terribly.
Yeah, took out one of the Lamborghinis. I think it was Marty Uren. I think Uren got totaled.
Yeah, Marty's car is done. Just taking a good look here.
Well, I saw him come down the front straight where Andre's car was, and essentially I saw a Lamborghini Diablo do an end over end, and just go. Yeah, he's way out there. Bring it into the pits if you can, Marty.
Well, we've got, we did have, well, there's Prado. Now it's Al Merriman in P2. So David Poole was involved there too with Andre's car, and he was flashing the lights at Andre to let him know. But obviously Andre is unaware of it at his end, which can happen. I mean, his end everything made look fine. But that is sort of squash that little freight train of cars up in the leaders that we had going.
Well, I am chasing David Canavan around right now. It looks like a three-way battle for P3. Al Merriman is now in P3. He's not going to want to give up that spot easily, but David Poole seems to have a little bit of pace. As Poole looks on the inside, Canavan goes out. They go side by side. Oh, and a little bump from the boss man. Gave David Poole the elbow.
A little NASCAR move there.
Yeah. He just like, it was like gave him the wide elbow and said, get out of here.
Just like Gordie Howe. We've got Ludden, Canavan, Poole, and Big Al. And Ludden and Canavan are probably saying, well, you guys just took it out. And we'll take advantage of this in another lap or two. Thank you very much.
Hey, you're not kidding. So David Poole now just drops back a little bit, giving Al some breathing room. But you know what? I believe David Poole is like that cat on the hunt. He's going to be ready to pounce here as they go down that front straightaway. We're going to have to see.
Well, these guys better step up the pace just a little bit, because the one from down under Aaron Parsons is momentarily going to join this foray.
David Poole doesn't look like he's close enough to make a run on Big Al's Saline. That's Saline with some really long legs down this long straightaway.
Yeah, and David seems to pick up a lot in the braking zones and get really close up to the back of that Saline. But the Saline seems to have some serious snot on the straights. That
it does. And one thing about David Poole is a late apexer. So David Poole is certainly the type of driver who goes deep into the braking zone. Turns in a little bit later to get that corner speed coming out of the turns, trying to make a run on you.
Yeah, great description there, Ken. And that's exactly what he does, and he does it really well.
So, I just jumped back here to P7, Aaron Parsons, as you stated. This man has just picked them off one by one, having started at the very back of the field, and has now made it up to about mid-pack. So good to see Aaron Parsons making that run. And again, he's not carrying any ballast here tonight, so certainly an advantage for him. Other than Port Marty, we got Monroy in 15th, Ferguson 14th, Calderon in 13th. They're all tight in together, and they're hunting down Gup Douglas. Gup Douglas is trying to hunt down Sam Rolfe in 11th with Alex Scott in 10th. So there's some great, for such a small field, there's a lot of great racing going out here tonight. Sometimes you don't need the really, really large fields just to get some good racing. These guys tonight are letting it all hang out here in the desert.
Yeah, and Brad Maris has gotten by Andrew Warner.
We've got some great racing action back here with Juan Monroy, Sergio Calderon, and Larry Ferguson all battling it out for P12. Sergio getting side by side with Mr. Larry. They bump. And it looks like Juan Monroy's got a run on both of them on the inside. If he can hold that line, Sergio getting a little bit into the back of Juan Monroy's Ferrari F40 there.
Well, to bring up the speed, Aaron Parsons has just passed John Ludden to take P6.
No wonder there. No wonder there.
And he looks like he has got pace to pass this next group of cars, which is Canavan, Poole, and Merriman.
So now Andres Prato's starting to put a gap between him and the pack that's running from Al Merriman on back. We're going to go to the timing and scoring board here. So Chris Moses with a commanding 12.5 second lead over second place Andres Prato. And Prato with a 5-second lead over Al Merriman, who's running tight with Poole, Canavan, Parsons, and even Ludden, all the way back to Maris, who's running in P8.
Well, you know, you were talking about Chris Moses there. Chris Moses has put a 12-second gap in 7 laps. That's over 1.25 seconds a lap. I mean, it's unbelievable that he's got so much pace over the rest of the field.
Well, Chris Moses running in the 153s. Prato is running in the 154. So Prato's fastest lap was a 154.2. And Chris Moses is just consistently lapping out there in the 153 flats, thereabouts, with his fastest lap of a 152.9. So Chris Moses certainly not playing around here tonight.
And either is Aaron Parsons. Looks like he's getting ready to put the moves on David Canavan.
Now Aaron Parsons was inconsistently lapping in the 155s, 154, and now as he has moved up the field is able to lay down a few hot laps here with a 153.6 and a 153.4.
He is all over the back of Canavan like a white on rice.
Staying on board right now with Aaron Parsons as this battle is unfolding. So it's Merriman, Poole, Canavan, and Parsons. 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I'm a little farther back here, Kenny, just keeping up with the action. We've got Ewan, Douglas, Ferguson, and Calderon. They're all locked in a pretty good battle back here, so all the way through the grid, they're still battling it out early in the race tonight.
So Poole and Canavan working together to try and increase the gap to Aaron Parsons. They get side by side. Canavan goes sideways, has to concede that position back to David Poole. And here comes Brad Maris.
Great move on Aaron Parsons there by Brad Maris.
Aaron Parsons certainly not happy about that, getting pushed back down to P7. But it looks like, wow, looks like Maris just has the pace here tonight.
It sure does. I mean, after giving up basically the whole field early, he has gained it all back, and wow, this action is tight. These three cars, Canavan, Maris, and Parsons. Brad having a look.
This little battle going on here right now has allowed Parsons to close back in on Brad.
Yeah, Brad, it looks like he may be taking just in some of the corners a bit of a defensive line, which has allowed Parsons to take the better driving line and close that gap again.
So this is shaping up to be a really, really large battle for P3 because while Al Merriman is leading this pack, I am sitting behind Aaron Parsons and I can see Al Merriman up in the distance, so they're not running too far apart here.
Not at all. You know, it's one little slide. There goes Parsons on the inside of Maris.
Trying to make it stick. Oh, can't get it done. Goes wide.
A little bit of breathing room for Brad right now, but Parsons will close that gap up.
Well, I think the important thing these drivers need to do is just give each other some racing room. It's going to be a great battle. And Aaron Parsons heavy on the throttle, throwing that Ford GT around those S's. Whoa, and Brad Maris having to check up on Canavan as Canavan gets a little squirrely. Brad Maris going to try and take him on the inside through the infield straight. And it looks like he is going to get it done. If he can keep this pace up, Canavan getting right back on the side of Brad Maris.
Oh, this is an unbelievable side-by-side action, Ken.
Yeah, man, we are catching it all on the broadcast. These guys are going to have to go back and, oh, Brad Maris getting squirrely coming out of the last corner. What is that going to do for Aaron Parsons? Will that give Aaron Parsons a bit of a run on him? Doesn't seem so for this corner coming up. This is the last corner before the start-finish straight.
Yeah, Brad isn't close enough, but Aaron had a little bit of a bobble there and controls that gap.
Brad Maris going to get the run on David Canavan coming into turn one.
Switching positions this time. Now it's Maris on the inside, Canavan on the outside.
Yep, and it looks like Maris gets it done. So Maris up to P5 and now quickly trying to pull away from Canavan and from Parsons.
Parsons on the inside. He's taking Canavan too. So David getting a little sideways after getting passed by Maris. Some great action here, Ken.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is what it's all about, folks. Great competition. For the most part, clean racing. So now Al Merriman up in third position. Let's talk about Al. Al, having been able to hold off a hard-charging David Poole several laps back, seems to have placed a small gap between he and Poole, or is it that Poole is just now in a bit of cruise control mode? Well, the temperatures do not indicate that they have to be overly conservative on their tires here because we're experiencing cool temps out there.
Yeah, they've got a couple of seconds between, Al, Poole, and Maris. But, geez, Maris has been charging pretty hard. And like I say, it's incredible. He dropped back to, I think it was about 14th, 15th, maybe even 16th before he rejoined the race and got back on the throttle. So up to P5, having Poole and Merriman in their sights for the podium is unbelievable. So it's, Big Al's got his work cut out for him to keep his laps consistent. Now, I can still see Prado, so it's all still up for grabs.
So, Marty Uren, after having that end-over-end accident with Andres Prado's lagged car going into turn one, is back out on the field. He is in P14. And Gup Douglas right behind him in 15th. Sergio Calderon running in 16th, and Mike Graytrix running just one outside the points in 17th. So the Diablos, the Lamborghini boys, not having much luck here at Bahrain tonight. And so now it looks like...
You know, I got to be super impressed with the drive by Chris tonight.
Yeah, you're not
super
kidding.
Impressed by Chris's drive. 17-second gap, you know, in 12 laps. It's just a great drive he's putting on there tonight.
That it is, and quite a statement he's making as well.
Not much to watch though, Ken.
No. We dip into him every so often and just see where he's at. He's kind of out there in cruise control right now. I mean, geez, he's got the entire front straightaway lead over Andres Prado now. I was about to say before we spoke about Chris that Al Merriman seems to be making slight inroads to Andres Prado's position.
Yeah, but you know what? We've got Parsons, Maris, and Poole are closing that gap too. So, you know, it is quickly going to end up being a four-way battle for the podium. And we could end up with 5 cars going for P2.
Well, we're starting to see that as Poole, Maris, Prado dropped back to 5th. Is my timing and scoring screwy or what? I'm showing Al Merriman in 2nd.
Prado in 5th as well now. I'm not sure what happened there.
Huh. Let's go back to the timing and scoring board just to be sure. Nope, he's in 5th.
Yep, I'm showing Prado in 5th too. Doesn't make sense, but
he must have had an off. He had to have had an off. Al Merriman.
Must have. I didn't catch it though, and I was watching.
Yeah, PMR Racing right now 1 and 2, and it looked like Brad Maris was quickly trying to take a look on the inside of David Poole as he hugs that sweeper turn on the tight side, trying to make up some ground there. Not very successful this time around, but it does not mean that come next lap he ain't gonna make it stick.
Yeah, and if Prado back in 5th, he has got Aaron Parsons stuck to his bumper.
No doubt Aaron Parsons is like the shark smelling blood back there, but trying to find a way to make his passes stick. And now he's up in the thick of things with the fast guys. So, you know, being in P6, you've got Prado, Maris, Merriman before you. These guys are all fast and not easy to just quickly put a pass on any one of these drivers.
You know, I was just watching Parsons, a sneaky little guy. You know, he'll come down the straightaway. He really doesn't have a run on the driver, but he'll stick his nose out, and I'm sure that the driver, you know, in front is aware that he is sticking his nose out, and just, you know, if you were paying any attention to your rearview mirror, it could throw you off, and I've never noticed that before, but I'm going to keep an eye on it.
That is his distractive driving technique. Trying to distract the driver in front of him, getting them to look at their mirrors and take their eyes off the road a little bit.
I don't think that would be the case in Prado's case. Prado's probably not even paying attention to him other than what's in... Oh, Prado's frozen.
Weirdness going on. No doubt that's going to result in a warning for, and there it is again. Oh, and it catches.
There it is, and he's just taken out. He's taking him out.
Yeah, Andrew Werner's lagged. Was it Prado or Werner? I see Prado up in 5th.
Prado lagged and took out Parsons.
There's quite a few lagging going on.
Werner's lagging as well.
Looks like Werner's out. Or is he?
Ludden in the gravel. Very strange here tonight, Ken. With these cars lagging out.
Yeah, no kidding, boy. Because I'll tell you, Andrew Werner now behind Aaron Parsons in P8. Yet I saw him stuck on that track, lagged out for what seemed to be an eternity.
Yeah, and Parsons got the brunt of Prado. I mean, he just threw his car right off the track. I'm surprised that he's still driving it.
Juan Monroy doing fairly well. He's running in P9, driving that bright red Ferrari F40. Being chased down by Alex Scott in P10 and John Ludden in 11. And again, John Ludden carrying all that weight. Not having that much success here tonight, but, you know, I guess making the best of a bad situation considering that he's carrying around so much weight.
Well, back up in front, P2 and 3, Al Merriman and Brad Maris. This is the broadcasters' battle of the night, folks.
Yes, indeed, because these are your Monday night GT2 broadcasters, and you see Al Merriman now starting to take a bit of a defensive line around some of these sweeper turns, not taking it too far out, but again, Brad Maris, he's just got all the pace, so we're going to have to see what Maris is going to decide to do here. We're going to take it on board.
Yeah, beautiful lines by Brad in those last two corners. Just bang on the apex.
Well, Brad,
he might have a pull here.
Yeah, he's going to have a run.
Brad pulls out on the inside. Side-by-side action.
Al Merriman not afraid to go around the outside.
But just not enough, Al. But boy, oh boy, Al sure wanted that back. That Corvette seems to take the curves without bottoming out, whereas the Saleen seems to be sparking up every time he hits those curbs.
Yeah, and you know what? These drivers need to realize when they run those super low setups, it does eventually affect your lap times because every scrape will knock, you know, a half a mile per hour or a full mile per hour off your speed, and that translates into lost tenths.
That's been my problem all along.
I'm always bottoming out. No wonder I'm so slow.
Oh, no, I've got it wrong. I'm just at the bottom.
Oh, okay, got it. All right, yep.
So Parsons trying to collect it back up, but he's got Canavan on his tail. And, you know, that's basically a heartbreaker there for Parsons. He was up challenging with this other group, and I don't know if he's got it left in him to get back up there. On him down the straight.
I think that the Lister Storm may have a little bit more in the long run, but man, they're making this is just a pure drawn out drag race down to turn one.
Good on Werner to a little tap there by Canavan puts Werner off, grabbing some sand, grabbing some track. But good on Andrew to give Canavan the room there. And he'll try it all over again.
Yeah, that was a gutsy move by Werner and Canavan.
Well, you know, it just shows how competitive these guys out there on the track. You know, you think you have a pass completed, but hold on to your helmet. It ain't over till it's all over.
So a little bit further back, Robbers Dog Racing running 10 and 11. Alex Scott subbing in for Bjorn Heyman, who has the night off. And again, John Ludden carrying around 70 kilos, so he's struggling a little bit here tonight, but trying to make the best of a bad situation. Sam Rolfe currently running in 12th. In the McLaren F1, Larry Ferguson in 13th. Marty Wren in 14th. Sergio Calderon in 15th. Gub Douglas 16th. Mike Graytrick still running back there in 17th, trying to catch some of these guys as he lets some of the leaders by, and it looks like oh, I thought they were coming into the pits. Let's see what these guys are doing down there on the inside of the track.
Poole and Prado.
Prado going around the outside. That looked like a bit of a cut.
Well, you know, we've got a little bit of a lagging issue going on there, I think, with Andre Prado, and it's probably very disconcerting for David.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I can see in my screen there, I can see Andre's car is, you know, lagging out a little bit the odd time, so that can throw your rhythm completely off.
You know, I'm just wondering if this may be a track issue, Jack, because it hasn't affected just one person here tonight. Several drivers we've seen lag out.
Well, you know, there was several drivers put on notice about lagging issues in the forum this week, so you know, it could be several of the drivers are having some connectivity issues.
You know, it's possible, and after both I and Al had tremendous issues last week, which, you know, seemed to be surrounded around Ventrilo. We just lost somebody. Seemed to be surrounded around Ventrilo, but then I found out that both GTR2 and Ventrilo are hosted on the same server. Yeah, it gives something for us to think about here.
Well, Chris Moses has opened his lead up to 23 seconds, and Brad Maris has opened his lead up after getting past Al Merriman. Got about a 4-second lead over Al, so Brad in a solid P2 right now. Al solidly in P3 with about 5 seconds over David Poole. David Poole and Prado still locked in a heated battle there with Parsons looking from behind. But if I was Aaron Parsons, I sure would be second guessing coming up and passing Prado, because they've already been wrecked once, so I don't think it'd be great to be wrecked a second time.
Yeah. Oh, Canavan takes it off.
That allows Werner up in behind to give chase.
Yep, and sorry folks, I just had a little bit of a lag issue myself. Looked like I lagged out on the GTR2, but came right back.
Well, you might be right, Ken. It might be a track issue, it might be a server issue. Who knows, but very strange going-ons here tonight at NAGP.
Oh, Andrew Werner.
Werner's off.
Grabbing the sand.
Wow.
Oh, Canavan's going to get by on that one. So he grabbed the sand, went sideways, and it looks like one of the Lamborghinis got caught out there as well back in that same corner. Gives Canavan P7. Boy, oh boy, these guys are going tooth and nail, back and forth at it for that almighty point. So
I think that was Mikey Graytrix who just followed that car right into the sand. Prado lagged out again.
Boy, oh boy. Oh, and he did so again.
And he's stuck. Yep. But see, he's stuck on our server, but he's still maintaining his P5. So, this is very strange.
If I didn't know any better, I'd swear we were racing in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, Juan Monroy's in the pits. Mikey Graytrick's in the pits. Lap 20, a little early pit, but probably well within their windows.
Yep, I wouldn't doubt it. And herein, some of the drivers in the back of the field will make that early pit stop in hopes of making up some position on the drivers that are a little ahead of them through the pit rotations. So hopefully it'll work out for them. So on board with David Poole in P4. David Poole is probably the only person, him, Brad, Al, and Chris, that have not shown any. Well, Chris did show signs of lag during qualifying, but none during the race.
You know, I'd be surprised if any driver hasn't showed any bits of lag tonight. So it looks like everybody's having a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, even me. I can look over at the XSplit broadcaster. I've dropped a total of 100 packets. So not typical. I mean, not atypical of a normal night, but it did lag me out there for a little bit. Typically, I don't see the lag, but this one did.
Well, anything up to P8 after that, they are all spread out on the track. We've got Warner. Andrew is chasing down David Canavan right now.
Well, it looks like the closest battle on track right now for one of the front-running positions is Andres Prado and David Poole. So David Poole currently running in P4, Andres Prado in P5, but right behind them, Aaron Parsons in P6. So Aaron Parsons still hasn't lost sight. I think we're going to see a hard charge in the second stint by Aaron Parsons.
Yeah, no doubt at all. Again, you know, I'm not the most technical guy here, but whoever has got the fuel advantage when it comes to pit rotation time, this is going to be huge at pit time.
No doubt. So Aaron Parsons giving himself some breathing room, looks like. I guess he figures if he can just maintain P6 right now when he gets into the pits for his pit rotation, things might change. So we'll have to see what the strategy is for Mr. Parsons. Wonder from down under.
Yep, still good racing going on with Werner and Canavan, Alex Scott in P9, John Lydon in P10, Sam Rolfe in 11, Larry Ferguson hanging on to 12th, but he has got Marty Urin all over the back of him, so Larry's got a race on tonight.
Canavan takes it wide on the last corner, gives Werner the spot back as they now head down the front, start, finish straight.
Yeah, those two have been going at it for quite a while now. And the gap times, Chris Moses out in the front by 20 seconds. Brad Maris over Al Merriman by 8 seconds. Only 4 seconds separate Merriman, Poole, and Prado. So P3 still up for grabs, but Brad Maris is sort of checking out on Al Merriman there for P2.
Yeah, Brad's certainly showing fast pace here tonight. Larry Ferguson ducks into the pits for some.
Yeah, just about right. That's lap 22.
For some petrol and perhaps some new shoes.
No doubt, but you know what? These guys couldn't ask for better temps. It's only 74 degrees for track temp and 57 for ambient.
Well, we're going to take a look and see if... oh, it looks like Chris Moses is in the pits too.
Chris Moses.
Let's see if his car goes up on jacks. We're looking at Ferguson and Moses in the pits right now.
Absolutely. Those rears are going to be cooked on that saline. I mean, Chris likes to slide the car around, and I know it's going to create some havoc. Oh, in the background there, you can see one of the Ferraris from the broadcasters taking it easy in the pits tonight.
So you've got PMR in the pits. Ferguson is taking tires. He's up on the jacks, and there goes Chris Moses. So Chris Moses also getting some new shoes on that Saleen.
Merriman, Moses, Werner, Canavan, Maris, Parsons, Pohl, all in the pits. Brado and Scott stay out.
So Ferguson is on his way now.
Moses is rolling.
Yep, I see Moses rolling. Maris is up on the jacks, and he's away. And Merriman goes up on the jacks. Now, it is going to be a race between Poole and Merriman. Who's going to get off that line first? Because I think I saw David Poole go up on the jacks quickly. Oh, and they both come down together. Oh, and Al Merriman.
A little bit of a contact.
Yep. Wow. Oh, wow. That's damage.
Merriman and Poole coming out close together.
So let's see here. Andres Prado running in first currently, has not pitted. Alex Scott all the way up to 2 has not pitted. Chris Moses, who just came out of the pits, he comes out in P3. Brad Maris in 4th, and Al Merriman in 5th. Now we're going to take a look at Al Merriman's left side. Doesn't seem to be too much damage there, so hopefully he was spared some heavy damage.
Yeah, he should be fine. You know, a pit accident there. They just rubbed some paint together. But Poole came out, and David Canavan is all over his bumper. I don't know if David's got the pace to hang on to Poole, but, you know, these two guys are out there on cold tires, so they're going to have to take it a little easy until they get warmed up.
It's the Dave and Dave show here tonight, Jack.
Double D's. Whoa, double D's.
Dunkin' Donuts, folks.
Oh, come on. Get
Dunkin'
your mind
Donuts.
out of the gutter there.
Dunkin' Donuts, folks. Love their coffee. Love my wife's coffee, too. She hasn't come to give me a cup tonight.
No, I'm fairly parched here tonight, too. I'm missing my Molsons. Brado still has to come in.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of an advantage to Prado's strategy if he wants to keep a gap between himself and the rest of the field, because no doubt staying out that long means he's going to have to take on some new rubber as well.
Or is he?
It'd be hard for him to double stint, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I seen everyone else. He would only be hurting himself if he double stints those tires, considering that everyone else behind him who was running before him took on some new rubber. So that would be a huge disadvantage for Andres Prado should he try and double stint those tires. And I think we might see him ducking in the pits this time around.
You're right. He's over a second a lap off his pace.
Well, looks like he's going to stay out one more lap.
Well, he's losing a second a lap there, so it's probably not the best strategy. Unless he's running hard tires with these cool temps and plans on just taking a splash and dash.
We shall soon find out. Oh, Alex Scott getting into the wall as he comes into the pits, and I am pretty sure he's going to get a penalty for that. Oh, it looks like he might have punctured his tire. Has to back up into the pit. Let's see if he actually gets it.
Well, we just lost somebody. I don't know who we lost.
Oh, Alex Scott unfortunately cannot make his pit this lap. He blew the pit entrance, he blew past his pit stall, and his crew is just not there to service him. He's going to have to go all the way back around and come back in. That is a shame for Alex Scott.
So we've got Moses out there, and Moses is only 9 seconds out in front of Brad Maris.
Going to be interesting to see how this second stint shapes up for those two, but I'm on board with Andres Prado right now. Next to the last corner, he's going to come around that last corner, see if he decides to want to bring it in this time. I've seen Prado with these long stint strategies before, and they have worked for him, but not so sure it's a good idea here tonight.
He's staying out.
Yeah, he has stayed out one more lap.
But he has given up. He's given up a second lap to Chris Moses right now.
Well, he's lapping in the 155s. Moses in the 154. So, yep. Not a good sign. So far, everybody's running into points because we lost somebody else. That put Mike Greatrix, who is 2 laps down, up in 15th.
Yeah, I can't quite figure out who we did lose.
We never can. We can never.
No, I know. We're terrible. We're terrible.
You're not kidding. We certainly are. Going to have to start taking snapshots of the running order every so often. So Andres Prado not willing to give up that lead. He is staying out there on a long first stint, currently working lap number 26 out of a scheduled 46. So with 20 laps left to go, Andres Prado still out there.
Well, here's an interesting thing I've just picked up. Brad Maris is turning 152s to Chris Moses 153. So Brad Maris is grabbing a second a lap. Man, he is a man on a mission here.
He's flying. He's flying.
And if he keeps this pace up and can catch Chris, this is going to be for the lead, because Prado is not going to hold the lead when he pits. It's going to take him more than 45 seconds.
Yep, and Prado is into the pits now. So Moses right now making his way through the off-camber turns and on to the next to last turn of this circuit. So he will shoot up the hill here and come around turn 15.
Yeah, Maris is a ways back on the camera, but timing actually shows it. He's got about 8 seconds between him and Maris, so Moses is going to have to just put his head down, but he's going to start coming up to some lap traffic shortly, so he's going to have to keep his wits.
Well, we see that Moses is now approaching the bumper of Larry Ferguson. No doubt, hopefully Larry will just let him by. Doesn't look like he's in a heated battle with anybody in front of him for position, so this one should be an easy sell. Oh, yellow flag was temporarily out on this corner.
Larry takes out all the cones.
Takes a
cone out of the way of Chris.
Takes the cones with him. I'll grab a few of those.
A little dip of the lights of Chris Moses saying thank you for getting rid of those cone heads.
So Brad Maris in P2, Andres in P3 now. He comes out of P3. Al Merriman in 4th and David Poole 5th. Aaron Parsons makes his way up to 5th and 6th. Andrew Warner 7th. Juan Monroy in 8th. John Ludden 9th. Sam Rolfe 10. Marty Uren in 11th. Alex Scott in 12th. Larry Ferguson in 13th. Sergio Calderon in 14th. Mike Greatrix in 15th. That's your running order here tonight. We're down to 15 drivers. I think we started with 18.
Yeah, pretty light field tonight, but the action's still been intense, and it's enough for us to we can't even figure out who we have lost. So for PMR running in 1 and 4, a great showing by them tonight. But again, Chris Moses out there with the to try and take the win and increase his drivers' championship lead.
Well, interestingly enough, and I have not done the math, so we know that there is only 1 point separating these two teams. You've got PMR in 1st and 4th, and Anger Racing in 2nd and 3rd. And based on that alone, I believe that the advantage here, by yet a couple of points, might go to Anger Racing if this race were to finish right now.
Quite possibly. Chris is going to pick up an extra point for the pole. They may end up, darn near tied for the team championship. It's going to come down to the last couple of races, and these guys are intense.
Yeah, and again, I will say it again, I'm very excited that we are here to witness all of this unfold as the season progresses towards its finale.
Still, Maris is still running 52s to Moses' 53, so Brad is just got that car dialed in tonight. And we got to keep in mind, he backed off and dropped to the back of the field during his courtesy sidestep earlier in the race, and that's what the best we can figure what he did, and it sure looks like that's what he did.
Yeah, certainly does. And boy, what did I hear? I thought I heard it said that Brad spends near 20 hours a week preparing for races.
Well, when driving school there, when he went through his weekly prep for these races, and that's why he's dropped out for one season there, because it was taking up so much of his time. Yeah, he is super prepared going in.
Yep, and it shows. So, Brad Maris sitting in P2, your race leader, Chris Moses, getting around some lap traffic. We won't say back markers here.
No such thing at NAGP. There's guys that race at the front, and then there's the rest of the racers.
And there's
yeah, the rest of the field has got themselves fairly spread out. Parsons is about 3 seconds back at David Poole. Merriman and Prado are close to each other within a few seconds, but Brad Maris is chipping away at that lead down to right around the 6 second mark.
Yeah, boy, I gotta tell you, it's an awesome drive by Brad Maris tonight here in Bahrain. He is just laying down some smokers.
Yeah, he has just barely creeped up into the 53s right now. And Chris was turning 53s, but Chris has just creeped up into the 54s. So Brad knows what he's got to do, and Chris can see that too. So, both these guys are very astute drivers and keep an eye on what's going on around them. And they can see in their XD that what they need to do to keep that gap. And Chris knows what he's got to do to keep Brad Maris from getting up on his tail.
Yes, indeed. So, really, when it comes to the battles out on track, there aren't many right now. Andres Prado and Al Merriman, perhaps the closest, with David Poole not too far behind them, and Aaron Parsons a little ways back from that. So,
yeah, Andrew Werner's doing a real great job tonight, for 05 Motorsports there. He's in P7, he's got Aaron Parsons in his sights, and not a bad guy to follow around. So, Poole in P5 and Werner in P7, they're going to grab some good team points too. And they're not too far off the pace here. They're sitting in 4th place for the team championship right now.
Byron Parsons, having started at the back of the field, currently running in 6th. Andres Prieto running in P3. And you know, it looks like these drivers, I mean, from front to back, have pretty much got themselves fairly spaced out. Nobody's riding on top of each other.
Yeah, they're pretty well sorted, you know, after the laps they put in here. You know, we're running lap 30 right now, another 16 to go. But with only a few seconds, you know, between 3, 4, 5, and 6, you know, you're only talking 3-second gap per car. You know, one little mistake, they've got to stay focused. And sometimes it's hard when you're running by yourself there, Ken, to keep the focus on and keep the laps going.
Yeah, no doubt. So we're on board the bonnet cam with Chris Moses, your race leader, as he comes down through the start-finish strip. And he has just put on a clinic from the word go tonight. From the drop of the green flag, Chris Moses has been a man on a mission, setting the fast laps. And boy, oh boy, I got to tell you, I'm just looking back from Chris's car, and I am now seeing that bright green, white, and black Corvette of Brad Maris.
Yeah, Brad is down to about 5.5 seconds back, so he has really started to put the push on. You know, pushing this hard, you know, it's always risky. You know, you could maybe start to overdrive it a bit, but he's just putting in super solid laps.
Yes, he is, boy. Let's take a look back to Brad Maris. He's got one of the Paganis in front of him. I'd actually try and use that to my benefit and get that Pagani to drag me down this long straight.
Well, it might be working a little bit because the gap is less than 5.5 seconds, boy, getting close again. So, you know, and a little farther back, Merriman, Pohl, and Parsons, they're all close together, along with Werner. Werner's not too far out of that 4A either. So, you know, all battling for those big points tonight.
Yes, sirree. But I think Al has been running a brilliant race here tonight. He's currently sitting in P4. Was trying his best to hold off a hard-charging Andres Prieto and Brad Maris. So he fought the valiant fight. Brad Maris getting a little squirrely.
Yeah, Brad looking to get around that Pagani.
I believe that is Ludden. No, it's Scott.
Yeah, a little dip of the lights from Brad saying thank you very much. And boy, Brad has got Chris in his sights, so this is going to be an exciting finish, no doubt about it.
I mean, Chris is still a little ways off, so is it possible? Perhaps. We are currently running lap 32, so with about a dozen laps left to go, we'll have to see if Brad has what it takes.
They're pretty much lockstep in lap times, 53 threes, 53 fours for both these drivers. So Brad has just slipped off the 52s, and he needs to do that to reel Chris in. But Chris has stepped up the game again, and maintaining his pace there. So have yet to see if Al Maris can do it, or Brad Maris can do it. Sorry.
Boy, I thought I was confused. Just kidding, but man, I'm just looking at Brad Maris's lap times. His fastest lap in full race trim, a 152.593. Done 3 laps after he pitted.
Well, there is an interesting fact here. I mean, Chris Moses is carrying 44 pounds. Brad Maris has 0 weight on him. Prato's got 66 and Pole's got 88. Of course, the big loser's John Ludden. He's carrying 154. And Alex Scott, not a help there with 88 pounds. So, I mean, those guys are carrying poundage, but Brad Maris has no weight, and that might be, giving him just a little edge on that lap time there.
Absolutely, yes. Just following around Alex Scott, who's running in P12 right now, driving the other Pagani, helping out Robert's Dog Racing, John Ludden, Bjorn Heyman.
Yeah, good on Alex. That'll really help out those team points there.
Sam Rolfe back in 10th. Oh, and Marty Uren in 11th, and that's a little bit of a battle that's starting to shape up back there for P10.
Yeah, Marty has closed gap nicely there to Sam Rolfe. But you know what? We haven't talked much about Sam Rolfe, but he's having a decent race tonight. He's in P10, and he's been driving that car really, really well this season.
He has, and my opinion of Sam Rolfe is that Sam Rolfe is an exceptional driver, very classy out on track, and just a very well-rounded individual when it comes to motorsport racing. And now this battle is heating up. Marty Uren all over Sam Rolfe's tail.
The same, just over the 5.5 second mark, and Brad doesn't seem to be able to close that down. Although David Poole is now pulled up behind Al Merriman, we got a battle going on here for P4.
Yeah, they are close, and you know what? Aaron Parsons not too far behind them, and Andrew Werner making inroads to Aaron Parsons as well.
Yeah, Al might be, I'll check it out, but Al might be slipping a little bit in lap times right now.
Going back to timing and scoring, taking a look at Al Merriman's times. He's been, his lap times actually are starting to slip, so he came out of the gate with 154, ones, twos, and flats, and now he's back. His times have been slipping in the 154s from 1.78 to 179, 588.
Yeah, and Poole has picked up the pace. He's got pace on Al right now, and it looks like Aaron Parsons may be trying to capitalize on this as well.
Going on board with David Poole. For those of you watching the broadcast, if you got it on speakers, go ahead and crank it up, because we got all this engine noise coming at you in 3D stereo.
Yep, 3 big ground pounders there all together. And Poole had a look, and it's a drag race down the straight.
Saline starting to show his legs.
Poole with the lights on, saying, "I'm coming through." Big Al says, "Too bad. Your lights ain't gonna get you by me.
Big Al saying, shut your lights off. Ooh, with a bit of a run here. So, David Poole trying to play spoiler to the team championships. And now Parsons taking a look on the inside.
What a great three-way battle we got going. This is reminiscent of the first stint.
Big Al just doing all he can to hold these hard-charging Porsches and GTs, and now you can actually see that Aaron Parsons is starting to pick up the pace on David Poole.
Yeah, you know, this little battle between Merriman and Poole, you know, has allowed Parsons to get up behind. So Parsons could really go a great drag if he can get right on the tail before the straightaway.
And now Merriman coming up on some lap traffic.
But you know, Sergio's a gentleman too. You know, he's going to give him the room as soon as he's able to. And there he goes. He's going to let him all freight train through. Whoa! Did you see that move there?
I did.
Trying to grab some draft.
I did, and David Poole
all up behind and going out on the inside.
Deep into the braking zone for David Poole. No contact. Now Al Merriman holding off a hard-charging Aaron Parsons as he takes it wide, but Aaron Parsons steps inside.
But Big Al going to hold the position there. Parsons over that curb. That Ford does not like those curb. Well, a little squirrely action there by Parsons, but he's still on the bumper of Al. And it would appear that David Poole is up and away.
So Al Merriman losing another position to David Poole, who takes it up to P4, and now Al Merriman having to take the defensive line around every bend, trying to hold off a hard-charging Aaron Parsons.
Yeah, and Aaron starting dead last in the pack there. Along with Brad Maris and Aaron Parsons, a couple of great drives by those two professionals tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to bring you a little update, it looks like Chris Moses has increased his gap over Brad Maris. So it might be that Brad has said, I can't get him. I can't catch you. We're in lap 37. You know, we got 9 left. He would need almost a second a lap right now to be able to close the gap up there. So the battle going on is the one you're on, Parsons, Merriman, and Poole.
They are side by side, Parsons and Merriman. Parsons hoping to gain an advantage here. Oh, their fenders rub. Their fenders rub. And that's going to let Andrew Werner by, and Al Merriman dropping back to 7th.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just caught up with that after I was checking out some time scoring there. But Al's going to try to answer back and take that position away from Werner.
Well, Andrew Werner with a late race charge here, trying to improve his position, his finishing position in this race.
Well, he did have some great pace in practice and good pace in the qualifying as well. So, you know, 05 Motorsport, they've got those Porsches hooked up for this track along with BMR as well.
That they do. That they do. But it looks like Al Merriman may have been pushing just a little bit too hard early in the second stint, because he seems to be falling off the pace here a little bit. We're going to go back to the timing and scoring board and take a look at Al Merriman's times. And he has been running in the last 3 laps have been in the 155, so he has given up a little over a second within the last 15 laps.
Well, we've got another battle going on back out here. Parsons and Poole, as Parsons has closed the gap up on Poole now. So Aaron Parsons putting on quite the drive tonight too. And Parsons locks it up, or Poole locks it up and allows Parsons up right on his tailpipe.
Great battle going on here late in the race.
Yeah, just when, David Poole thought, geez, I got around Al, and that was quite a bit of work to get around Al, and now he's got to put up with Aaron Parsons.
Great drive by these guys.
Racing, Garrison Prado 2-3. Boy, oh boy, this would be enough for them to take over the lead team championship. Because Al has now dropped back down to 7.
Yeah. Down the straightaway they go, and Aaron Parsons trying to ever so slowly close the gap. It's almost agonizing.
Yeah, two great drivers at driving the line. Boy, it looks like that Ford has got some serious power down the straight, but it almost looks like those Porsches might be just, very running very low downforce setup here at this track, because they have some awesome power down these straightaways. I would have thought the Ford GT would run them down, but not the case.
Not the case at all. But Parsons having a look on the inside, not able to get it done through this corner here.
Whoa, little love tap there. Parsons into Poole.
I thought that's what I saw.
Yeah, and it looked like, David was taking a bit of a defensive line there, going early into the corner. Now he's locking it up, and Aaron not close enough to take advantage.
Nope, but Werner is going to try and get close enough to Parsons.
We have got basically a Porsche sandwich with a little bit of Ford filling in between.
And that, my friends, is an Oreo cookie.
It sure looks like it from here. This is a great battle going on late here. We're now running lap 40, so we've only got about 6 laps left. And just to let you know, Chris has increased his lead by 10 seconds, so he has kept up the pace. It looks like Brad might have burned out his tires a little early.
Perhaps, but boy, I gotta tell you, I hand it to Chris Moses tonight. He has just done a phenomenal job.
And there goes the wonder from down under. Parsons overtakes Poole in the last corner.
Wow, so Parsons now up to P4.
A little bit of a role reversal here as we got Poole and Werner. Great showing by 05 tonight.
Yeah, very respectable 5th and 6th right now. I'm telling you, they're playing spoiler to the team championship race. And we're going to take it back there real quick. We're going to take a look at the team point standings. So Precision Motorsports 1 point over Anger Racing, 160 to 159. T broke Dam Bam, 133, and 05 Motorsport sitting in fourth with 125 points. They are just, what's that, 25 points out of the lead? 35 points out of the lead.
Yeah, they are. But, you know, 05 is going to take it to T broke Dam Bam tonight as they are finishing really well in 5 and 6 tonight. And it looks like Werner has gotten by David Pohl.
Yep, I saw that in my peripheral. I saw that Poole. It looked like he went a little bit wide, and Werner was able to capitalize. So Poole no longer able to hold off Aaron Parsons. Perhaps his tires starting to heat up, get a little slick out there. But Parsons is the man on the move. Andres Prado in third, Brad Marison second, Chris Moses. Complete clinic show here tonight. Forget about it. He has just laid the smack down. He has showed these guys how it's done. You know, this almost reminds me of a Formula One race. He's got like the Formula One lead over second place Brad Maris.
Yeah, he sure does. You know, ran from the drop of the flag. He's been out in front. Now his lead's not quite it was in the first stint, but he has done everything he's needed to take this one on home.
His drive here tonight has been nothing short of spectacular, even through the pit rotations where he did lose a few positions, but you know, those things have a way of sorting themselves out once all the other folks come in. And you know what, he just moved right back up to the lead and has not looked back. So kudos to you, Chris Moses, for doing such a thing tonight.
Now, you know, Andrew Werner, now that he's gotten around pole, Andrew Werner has actually got pace on Aaron Parsons. Not by much, you know, like 0.2 of a second. He's got pace on him, and he is going to give Parsons a handful for the finish of this race.
Yeah, very interesting. We are working lap 42. So there are 4 laps left to go.
So a great team move by David Pohl to let Werner, you know, take up the torch, take up the fight, and get in there and pressure Aaron Parsons.
And you know, it's no surprise. Andrew Werner has been showing great bursts of speed this season. He has been mixing it up with the best of the best here at NAGP, race in, race out. On the races where he's not crashed out or had to or took a DNF, he has been mixing it up with the best of them. And no doubt, being teammate to David Poole, I'm sure plays a large part of that.
Yeah, you know, they make a good team, and I hope this carries forward into whatever endeavors we get into on Thursday night. I hope these teams stay relatively what they are. Keeps it all very competitive.
Well, I'll tell you this, Jack, and this is merely my opinion, but I believe that if NAGP moves Thursday nights over to Assetto Corsa, you are going to see a huge explosion of people that are, one, going to come back to NAGP, and 2, sign up new for NAGP.
Now, you know, I'm not so sure, Kent. Is the multiplayer game, is it up to snuff with a game like this for multiplayer use online?
It's not optimal yet. I know that Assetto Corsa or Kuno Simulazioni is working on some changes for the multiplayer, and I know that their goal is to make it league compatible. So I mean, you know, to run a league, it's really not a complex matter. It's certain features that we must have available to us, especially on the server side. Those that run the league need to have certain settings on the server side that have not been yet implemented, but they're not that hard to implement, and I know that Kunos is working on such things. So we're going to have to wait and see, but certainly a great platform. It looks fantastic. The car renderings are absolutely beautiful, and I think it's a great sim.
Well, I like the fact that you sort of, maybe I'm wrong, Ken, I'm not that up on the IT stuff, but you seem to run in the cloud rather than running in your own PC. I may be wrong, though.
Nope, that is correct. So when you are running multiplayer, you are running in the cloud, and so there's less of a strain on your CPU and your GPU when playing against other multiplayer cars versus AI. AI taxes your system tremendously in Assetto Corsa versus online play, which is not so demanding.
Well, we've got a 13-second gap with Moses over Maris, and they're the two drivers we had talked about before the race, so not a big surprise to us here.
Well, again, you know what? I think the advantage tonight is going to go to Anger Racing, because while Chris Moses does get the 25 points plus the pole position point added to not only the driver but the team championship standing points, Anger Racing is running second and third. Al Merriman has dropped back to seventh, where, I mean, you know, still decent points. I just don't think it's going to be enough to hold off Anger Racing from taking over the top spot again this week in the team championship.
Well, they may be taking it over, but they're not running away with it like they were early in the season. So it is all closed up here, and as we have seen with some of these lagging issues, I mean, anything can happen here.
Sure, anything can happen, and it is far from over. Fat Lady hasn't sung for this race yet, although if Chris Moses keeps his pace and continues to do what he's doing, it's pretty much in the bag. But we still got to wait for that final flag, that checkered flag, to drop, indicating the end of the race before we can call it a success.
Yeah, and we are coming around now to finish out lap 44. So there's not too much left in this one.
No, not at all. So we're following your race leader around here. We're going to cycle through the field, see if anybody's making some major moves on somebody else. Trying hard to make some type of inroad to Aaron Parsons, but Aaron Parsons, we got a Corvette was temporarily lagged there on the front straightaway. That would have been Andres Prado. And I think this is going to be the last lap, as Moses is now working on completing 45 are in the books, and he is on lap 46. We're going to stay on board with your race leader as he takes it around this Bahrain International Circuit one more time.
Quite the show from start to finish. Unbelievable.
Now, a reminder to those that watch the rebroadcast and those that are watching live right now on the internet, there is no Thursday night GT1 racing next week. There is no GT1 Thursday night racing next week, the 27th. It is U.S. Thanksgiving, and that is a bye week for these GT1 drivers here.
Yeah, as we talked earlier, I think it's a little late for Thanksgiving, seeing how Buffalo is under 8 foot of snow, but I hope they got the harvest in time.
Yeah, you're not kidding, man. That's just a tragedy up there north, up north from where I am.
And very localized there, Ken. We've only got about 3 or 4 inches on the ground here.
We've not seen a snowflake yet, and I'm okay with that. So Chris Moses coming around the final bend. All he's got to do is just keep it together, and there it is. Chris Moses, your race winner here tonight, NAGP GT1 Bahrain International Circuit. Brad Maris will bring it across the line in second. Andres Prado looked like he got lagged there for a second, so Andres Prado will finish third. Yep, so Prado third, Parsons fourth, Werner fifth, Poole sixth, Merriman will come home in seventh, Juan Monroy in eighth, John Ludden in 9th, Marty Uren finishes 10th, Alex Scott 11th, Sam Rolfe with a blown engine in 12th, Larry Ferguson in 13th, Sergio Calderon in 14th, Mike Graytrix will finish in 15th, and that is everybody, Jack. We have...
And I'm ready. I'm going to bring up the race winner. Chris Moses, Jack and Ken in the broadcast booth.
Hey, Jack. Hey, Ken.
You put on a clinic tonight, Chris.
I was just telling my teammate I love this track. So way too long since we last drove it.
It looked like you liked it, and I picked you to win this one.
Yes, he did.
Well, you know, I think I looked up my last win in GT1 was in 2012 in a Lambo, so probably a bad bet because it's been a long, long time. So, but it feels pretty good. Feels pretty good.
Well,
it sure looked good out there, Chris. The track temps were good for you tonight.
Yeah, I had two setups, one for cold and one for hot, and I was actually hoping for hot because my hot setup was so good with hard tires. But I put a lot of work into this one, and it paid off. And got a little bonus here in the championship, a little extension, but I'm going to have a lot of weight on the car for the last two races, so it's not going to be easy.
Well, it sure isn't going to be easy, but the team championship is so close we can't even add it up. My calculator broke trying to figure it out, so it's going to be close going down to the wire.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to debrief with my teammate yet, Al, and see what happened, but he looked like he was in position for a podium there for a little while, but something must have happened.
Yeah, we were watching that, and his lap time started to fall off a little bit, but no doubt you guys will get that together. And we expect a dogfight here for the team championship, the last three races of the season. So we want to wish you, Al, and all the other teams that are up there running great luck. We're having so much fun covering these races and seeing the fierce competition out there.
Right on, Ken. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough. I think we're gonna need a little help. The last two tracks really favor the Corvette team, especially the fuel economy at the last event. But you never know what can happen, and keep plugging away and see how it turns out.
Yep.
Well, great racing, Chris.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Ken.
Yep. And again, congratulations. So for Jack Ivy and myself, we want to thank you folks that watched for watching, and the guys that'll watch the rebroadcast. We hope that you enjoy it, and we will do it again in 2 weeks. Again, there is no racing next week. December 4th, we will be bringing it to you live, and thanks again for joining us.